Well, good morning, good afternoon. This is Scott with ReadySquirrel.com doing a quick video. Pounds of food in a 5-gallon bucket. The phrase isn't tongue-in-cheek, but what I mean is if you start out prepping, if you're doing the planning, you need to know how many buckets you need, how many Mylar bags you need, depending on the size, and how many oxygen absorbers you need. It's a lot easier if you kind of have a general idea of how much of the different foods that are common for long-term storage you can get in a bucket. I apologize, I just got back from a run and sorry, I need to knock this video out, so you got to look at my sweaty shirt. Much apologies. Smash the like button, give some thumbs up. You can check this article out on ReadySquirrel.com if you don't want to listen to me gab. And let's get right down to it. Pounds of food in a 5-gallon bucket. That's some picture of some Walmart grade 5-gallon buckets that I got at Walmart. Fairly inexpensive. Got them in the hardware section, and I got just the regular lids for this. It's handy to know how many pounds of the most common preppers foods will store in a 5-gallon pail, so you can plan ahead. I hope you find this information helpful as you plan and build your emergency food supply. And then the answer, which is kind of general, a 5-gallon food grade bucket will hold 8 to 37 pounds of emergency food. The size of the food affects the weight, i.e. rice grain versus an apple slice. Bucket weight is also affected by the airspace between each piece of food, moisture content, and additional packaging such as Mylar bags. 8 to 37 pounds is a huge variation in the amount of weight a food grade bucket will hold. I assume you Googled how many pounds of food will a bucket hold because you're planning your long-term food storage. In the following charts, I describe how many pounds of the most common prepping foods will fit in a bucket, including cooked calories per pound and per 5-gallon bucket. How much whole grain will fit in a 5-gallon bucket? Notice down below how the larger, fluffier foods with more airspace between each piece take up more space and reduce the overall weight that the bucket will hold. So food types here, whole grain, I've got a hard red winter wheat. You're looking at, and when I say hard red winter wheat, this is not flour, this is the wheat berries. You're looking at 37 pounds. You're going to get, roughly speaking, 1,118 calories out of 1 pound of bread. I couldn't find the direct cooked calories for red wheat. So it was either uncooked calories, which to a certain extent are useless, or the next best thing was what is the most likely thing you're going to do with wheat? You're going to grind it and you're going to make bread. So if you go with that calorie count, 1,118 a pound, you're looking at, roughly speaking, 41,366 calories in a 5-gallon pail of hard red winter wheat. Hard white wheat, you're looking again at 37 pounds. Not exactly, but basically the same calorie count. Pearled barley hulled, you're looking at 36 pounds per 5-gallon bucket. You're looking at 527 calories in 3.5 cups, or 18,972 cooked calories in the 5 gallons. Dent corn maize, used for making tortillas, you're going to get 37 pounds. And keep in mind, these numbers are not exact. I mean, if you look at a bean, you can take say a pinto bean or a red kidney bean, and depending on what the harvest is like, what the weather's like, how much water they got, how much sun, even the same kind of bean is going to have variations in size. But this still gives you a ballpark figure, at least enough information to generally be able to pick out the number of buckets you need. And I think this is especially helpful, like if you live off grid, if you can't just run down to the Walmart and get buckets, you're 1 bucket shy and you're 500 miles away, well, you're going to have to order the stuff. Where are we at? Yellow dent corn maize, used for making tortillas. You can get 37 pounds in a 5-gallon bucket. There's 990 calories in a pound of yellow corn maize tortillas cooked. 5-gallon bucket, you're looking at roughly 36,360 calories. Buckwheat groats, 35 pounds in a 5-gallon bucket. You're looking at 417 pounds roasted, 14,595 pounds per bucket. Long grain white rice, one of my faves. You can get 36 pounds of long grain white rice in a 5-gallon bucket, and cooked calories in a pound. You're looking at 820 calories. Calories per 5-gallon bucket, you're looking at 29,520 calories. Long grain brown rice, 35 pounds, you're looking at 864 calories in 4 cups, or 30,240 calories per 5-gallon bucket. These things look equal here. If you've been watching any of my videos, you know that brown rice is not a good choice for long-term storage. You'll get the white rice and the brown rice side by side. Here, Mylar bag, 5-gallon bucket, and it's sealed properly with oxygen absorbers. You're looking at 30 plus years. You're probably going to get a little bit of degradation in the nutritional value, but you're going to have food and you're going to be able to fill your belly. Long grain brown rice, you're looking at about 18 months before it oxidizes because of the oils in the hull of the grain of rice. I'm not sure if hull is the right term, but it's the sheath, the natural sheath that's around the rice. White rice doesn't have that. It's been removed. Parboiled rice, minute instant rice. You can get 36 pounds of rice in a 5-gallon bucket, and you're looking at 820 calories in 4 cups, or 29,520 calories in a 5-gallon pail. Rolled oats, you're looking at 20 pounds you can get into a 5-gallon pail, 750 calories in 5 cups, or 15,000 calories in one 5-gallon pail. Oat bran, you're looking at 25 pounds in a 5-gallon bucket at 308 calories every 3.5 cups, or 7,700 calories in a 5-gallon bucket. This oat bran, you don't cook that really. It's just something that you can sprinkle on the other food that you're eating. Bread rye, again, I did the cooked calories based on a pound of rye bread. You're looking at 1,019 calories, or 41,265 cooked calories in a 5-gallon bucket. And this information is compliments of the USA Emergency Supply, Food and Drug Administration. I could actually add to that manufacturers. I had to look all over the place for a lot of these figures. There's so much disinformation out there. It's really hard to find accurate counts. Even some of the federal documents they were giving, and I've actually made this mistake before in articles, they were actually giving the uncooked calorie count of food stuff, but they were saying that it was cooked calories. That's not something that I thought about before, but that really can complicate the process, because I'm sure there's a reason for uncooked calories that they give you, but I don't know what it is. Like you can't eat white rice not cooked, so why even give the uncooked calories? I'm not really sure why they do that. How much flour will fit in a 5-gallon bucket? Depending on your goals, you may choose to store flour for the short term. Flour is not good for long-term storage. You're going to be better off storing wheat berries, because flour, it degrades quickly. If the moisture content's not spot on, you can get botulism. You got to have 10% or less. You have more bug issues. You know what? I shouldn't say that. I feel like you have more bug issues, but I can't prove that, so it's just a hunch. But flour degrades quickly. it loses its nutritional value, like at light speed compared to if you store the wheat berries or the whole grain. How much flour will fit in a 5-gallon bucket? Down here we got Wheat Bran. These are kind of, they could have gone up here also, but I wanted to kind of fill this out so it didn't have just one line. All-purpose flour, we'll just get to that one right up front. You can fit 33 pounds in a 5-gallon bucket. 1,194 calories cooked in 1 pound of white bread. Of course, that's going to vary. What kind of margarine do you use? What kind of butter do you use? Did you put fruit in there? Did you mix in multigrains, whole grains? It's impossible to get every variable in there. So again, this is just going to kind of give you a general idea, but it's pretty easy for you to figure out what kind of recipe you want to use, whether you're grinding your own wheat to make flour for bread, or if you're using flour, because your recipe will have the calorie count. Okay, so all-purpose flour, you're looking at 39,402 calories in a 5-gallon bucket. Cornmeal degermed enriched, you can fit 33 pounds in a 5-gallon bucket, and you're looking at 1,501 calories per pound of cornbread. I have a feeling that I didn't notice this when I did it, but I have a feeling that's a high-calorie cornbread. Probably has a lot of sugar and stuff in it, so you might want to second guess me on this one and check it. For cornmeal, based on this calorie count for one pound of cornbread made with degermed and rich cornbread, you'd be looking at just under 50,000 calories in a bucket. How many pounds of beans will fit in a 5-gallon bucket? Beans are a prepping superstar when it comes to long-term storage. You can get 30-year shelf life, and when combined with rice, you get a complete protein with all the amino acids. Most of these beans are, let's see. This goes from, do I have a 31 in here? I guess refried beans, which are already cooked, is probably the lowest at 20. And the highest, you're looking at 37, smaller bean, mung bean. So anywhere from 20 to 37 pounds of beans will fit in a 5-gallon bucket. Black turtle, black-eyed peas, 32 pounds in a bucket. Great Northern beans, love those. Also known as navy beans, and I think I actually have it on here twice. But these, I didn't realize that they're a different bean, but they are. I didn't realize small or white navy beans and Great Northern beans are different. Kidney beans, 33 pounds in a 5-gallon bucket. Lentils, 35. Lima beans, 35. And you're going to get some variations in here depending on, like, for instance, lima beans. You can get the super tiny ones, or you can get like a butter bean that's like as big as a quarter. So that's going to change the volume you're going to have. Each pound of beans above, I used the estimate of 2 cups or 1 pound of dry beans, like those sacks you get at the grocery store. That's a pound or 2 cups. So that was how I based the calorie count on that. It was hard to find the cooked calories in some of these beans. As you can see here, calorie count for, this is actually 6 cups or 1 pound cooked. Okay, that brings up another issue I just thought of. So let's look at this down here. So if you cook 2 cups of dry beans, you get on average 6 cups, okay? So you can look at this number 2 ways. You can look at that as 6 cups of cooked beans, which it is, or you can look at that as 2 cups of dry beans, which you have cooked. So this calorie count here is for 1 pound of cooked bean, which is starting out as 2 pounds of dry beans, and when cooked turns into 6 pounds, or 6 cups rather. Sorry, 2 cups to 6 cups, or 1 pound of beans. So this is the calorie count for 1 pound of beans. You can take a look at that. And then I've got calorie per 5-gallon bucket cooked. Oh, let's see I think we did this in the last article. The superstar there is soy. But the problem with soybeans is you really have to process them. You have to know what you're going to do with them. They're not the kind of bean that you can like just throw in chili. So it's something you have to plan for. But man, look at the calorie count on that. Almost 2,000 calories. Dried bean to cooked bean yields here. 1/3 cup dry is 1 cup cooked, 1/2, 1.5 cups, 2/3, 2 cups, 1 cup, 3 cups, 2 cups, 6 cups. So that might be helpful if you're working on what's the word I'm looking for here? A recipe, your own recipe. So if you're meal planning, that cup conversion helps. How much pasta will fit in a 5-gallon bucket? One of my favorite comfort foods, pasta, is an excellent addition to your pantry. You can cook it and combine it with just about anything to make a solid meal. Elbow macaroni, you're looking at 20 pounds. Egg noodles, this surprised me here. I actually think, I don't think egg noodles are my favorite thing. The calorie count's not that hot. And they're expensive at the store for what you get. And you can't really get that much into a 5-gallon bucket. Now, this, I think, is if you don't crush them down. If you crush them down and you don't care if it's, a bunch of broken pieces, you can probably get more egg noodles in there. And that goes for not so much the macaroni, but that also goes for the spaghetti. But roughly speaking, you're going to get 20 pounds of macaroni in a 5-gallon bucket, 13 pounds of egg noodles, and 29 pounds of spaghetti. I've got the calories per 5-gallon bucket cooked over here. Dehydrated food that will fit in a 5-gallon bucket. Dehydrated food takes up a lot of space in relation to its weight. If you're looking to maximize storage space, carefully consider which dehydrated foods you choose to store. What I mean by that is, in this apple slices, you're only getting 8 pounds in a 5-gallon bucket, but you're taking up the space of a 5-gallon bucket. And that's what I mean about thinking about it. Though I think apple slices are a good thing to store. So applesauce, 306 calories per pound. Apple slices, 1,144 calories per pound. And sliced banana chips, 2,354 calories per pound. Take this with a grain of salt and check what the calorie count is for the banana chips that you have. Because that looks pretty high to me, and I think maybe that those are banana chips that were maybe cooked in a high-fat oil, which would reduce the shelf life. So second check me on that one. How many pounds of dog food will fit in a 5-gallon, or how many pounds of dog food will a 5-gallon bucket hold? Sorry, I changed the title. A 5-gallon food-grade bucket will hold 21 pounds of dog food or dry kibble if filled just below the rim of the bucket. Various dog food brands and the kibble size will affect how many pounds the bucket will hold. I filled this bucket with Iams. I know I'm saying that wrong. Lamb and rice. That's actually the dog food that I'm feeding my dogs. We were feeding them a cheaper Costco, like the Kirkland Costco brand dog food, and all my dogs are getting older, and so they were getting sick a lot more. So we're trying to change up their dog food and see if this helps them not get sick so much. How much does a 5-gallon bucket weigh? An empty food grade bucket weighs 0.5 pound to 1 pound, 15 ounces, or 1 pound or almost 2 pounds. So 1 pound, 16 ounces is 2 pounds. So depending on the manufacturer. An empty food grade bucket weighs 0.5 pound to 1 pound, 15 ounces, depending on the manufacturer. Walmart food grade buckets weigh 0.5 pound with a lid. Because I actually weighed it. Heavy duty contractor grade buckets with a lid weigh 2 pounds. How many cubic feet are in a 5-gallon bucket? A 5-gallon food grade bucket equals 0.98 cubic feet of food storage. What size container will hold 25 pounds of flour? A food grade 5-gallon bucket will hold 25 pounds of flour and then some. 33 pounds of all-purpose flour will fit in a 5-gallon pail. How much rice will a 5-gallon food grade bucket hold? A 5-gallon food grade bucket will hold 36 pounds of long grain white rice. How much does a 5-gallon bucket weigh filled with water? A 5-gallon bucket will hold 41.7 pounds of water. If the bucket weighs 2 pounds, you're looking at 43.7 pound bucket when filled with water. You can store food in 5-gallon buckets. Can you store food in 5-gallon buckets? You can store food in 5-gallon buckets, but the buckets should be made from food-grade plastic for direct food contact. If non-food-grade buckets are used, they should be lined with Mylar bags as a chemical barrier. Non-food-grade buckets have chemicals that should not come in contact with food. As a side note, it's a good idea to use Mylar bags in all of your 5-gallon food storage buckets. You can go over and check out that other article if you go to ReadySquirrel.com. Mylar is an excellent oxygen barrier, but is easily damaged. 5-gallon buckets don't keep the best seal, but they're super tough and protect the Mylar bags from getting damaged. Sorry guys, I think that run wiped me out. I didn't realize how tired I was. What kind of food can I store in 5-gallon food grade buckets? For long-term storage and emergency food preparedness, there probably isn't a better method of storing food than a 5-gallon food grade bucket lined with sealed Mylar bag and oxygen absorbers. Oxygen oxidizes food and reduces shelf life by decades. Here are 9 foods commonly stored in 5-gallon buckets: dry beans, rice, wheat berries, whole wheat, hard and soft grains, rolled oats, flour, whole dried corn, dent corn, maize for tortillas, dehydrated food, pasta, spaghetti, macaroni. Safety tip on moisture content: food stored in an oxygen-free environment should have a moisture content of 10% or less. Foods with higher moisture levels are prone to bacterial growth and deadly botulism. What is a gamma seal lid for buckets? Gamma lids are convenient when using a bucket to store food you are currently eating out of or using as a tool or equipment container. Gamma lids are much more expensive than regular lids, so preppers don't normally use them on most of their food buckets. A gamma seal lid is an aftermarket lid for a 5-gallon bucket. The cover comes in 2 parts: an outer ring of plastic with a seal and an inner cap that screws into the outer ring. An excellent choice for buckets you regularly access because you don't have to remove the outer ring. Excuse me. If you're using gamma lids for long-term storage, you should still consider using sealed Mylar bags, as buckets are not an optimum oxygen barrier. A lot of times these seals can be not so much, well, yeah, they can be bad. If they're not perfectly manufactured, they don't create an airtight seal. So I would suggest using Mylar bags even with these. What I think these are good for is for convenience. And say you're going to use a 5-gallon bucket to store rope or line or something like that, and you want to kind of waterproof it, not submerged, but keep it kind of, I want to say airtight. Again, not food airtight, but somewhat airtight. So you've got all your tools and you like to carry them around the house. You put the gamma seal lid on there, and all you do is screw it down and unscrew it. Get in there, get your tools, screw the top back on. You don't have to yank the top off. You don't have to hurt your hands or take a chance of breaking the lid. Wow, that was quick. Okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed the article. I hope everybody's doing well. This has been a wild month. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next couple days. I hope everybody out there stays safe, and I hope you got something out of this article. Have a great day again. This is Scott with Ready Squirrel. Smash that like button and give us some love. Take care, and I'll see you next time.